gentlemen, if you are tuning in, I want to say thank you in advance. Welcome to the first episode of the JWJ podcast. I am James Washington, and I am here with my boy, my ace, my best friend, Mr. Shane Thomas. How's it going, man?
What it do, what it is.
I hear you, boy. All right. So again, JWJ, guys, we're here. We're sharing the fun. We're just two guys that love round ball. We love hoops and everything that comes along with it. So we're going to take this first episode. We're not going to get way too deep. We're just going to give you guys a little bit about ourselves, what we're doing here, how we got here, and we're just going to have some fun. So first things first, like I said, me and Shane have been knowing each other for quite some time. It's been at least going on 10 years at this point, right?
Yeah, about 10 years. Yeah.
All right, definitely. So like I said, we've been knowing each other for a while, and we've actually had this idea brewing probably that entire time. It's kind of a long story how we met. We're going to save that. We'll make you guys wait. You guys don't get everything from us just yet. But like I said, we've been waiting on this. We've been sitting on it, pondering for quite some time. So we're just really excited to go ahead and get it going. So for starters, both Shane and myself are alums of the Valdosta State University. That's all you get from us so far.
Go Blazers.
All day, Blazer Nation. So that's where we met. That's all you get. We're going to go straight into why we're here, where we are, and we're going to take it from there. So Shane, you want to lead us in real quick? Let them know where we are and why we're here.
The reason that we're here. We're in Knoxville. It's vacation time for me. Long time coming. Y'all will figure out why this vacation is so needed in episodes to come. But yeah, we're in Knoxville. We're here for the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame induction tomorrow. We got a few people, big names that are going to be in there. We'll talk about that here in a second. But first of all, it's a miracle that we made it here. We almost died, if we're being honest. So, James, I'm gonna let you get that set up real quick.
Listen, man, this drive was the worst. So, all right, so we had planned this trip. First off, just a quick backstory on it. Like I said, we're both huge basketball fans, and a few years ago, what was it? I think in 2018, I believe, Shane and I ended up. Was it 19? 19. You're right. Okay, 2019. So we ended up in Connecticut at the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Had an awesome time. Went up there, saw the sights. It was something to see. It was awesome. I'd love to go back. Just to see how things have changed. A lot was under construction while we were there, but just doing a little bit of research this year, I'm not afraid to admit it. I'll be the first to say it. I actually was not aware that there was a separate Hall of Fame for women's basketball. So as soon as we found that out, we immediately jumped on it. And the best thing about it is the induction is coming up this weekend, and my boy sitting across the way just happens to be celebrating a birthday next week. So bro trip, birthday trip, it all went hand in hand. So I'm going to say it early. Happy birthday to my boy. But I'm sure I'll be saying that again soon, I'm sure. But anyway, so we decided we were going to come to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Very excited. And then even better, it's not that far away. We both live in Georgia. Shane is in Valdosta. I currently live in Douglasville. So Shane made the drive up to Douglasville. We hopped in my car and we started making the drive to Knoxville. Now, Shane, that drive was only supposed to be 3 hours and 23 minutes, according to the GPS, right?
Yeah, 3 hours, 23 minutes. Yeah.
All right. So everything seemed like it was going to be okay. We got in the car, we packed it up, we rode out. And the first place we stopped was in, I don't even remember the city at this point, but it was, we stopped at Buc-ee's, not the one in Fort Valley for all my Georgia people, or that we didn't stop at that one, not the farther south one. We were headed north. So we stopped at Buc-ee's as we were headed on the way up. And Bucky's wasn't too bad, crowded as usual. You know, if you're ever in the area, make sure you stop, you know, grab some of that pulled pork. It's on point. But once we got back in the car, it wasn't even 5 minutes before some crazy stuff started jumping off, wasn't it, Shane?
Yeah, we get in the car, getting ready for like the home stretch of the trip, and suddenly it's like it was already 87 degrees outside, and then it was like 105 in the car, and we were trying to figure out what was going on. And yeah, suddenly we look at James's console, his display, and it's like freaking out. Like there were buttons being pressed by ghosts and everything else, and every time we tried to adjust the climate, it would just go right back up high, and I thought we were about to die.
Look, it was the craziest thing, man. Like, so we're driving. We had just gotten back on 75. And next thing you know, like Shane said, the dash, the panel, you know, the instrument panel where, you know, you control the radio, the AC, all of that. Next thing you know, it just starts glitching like crazy. Like it even went as far as to change the language on the panel to French. So as long as I've had the car, never had any issues like this. But of course, we wait until this goes down, till this trip, for this to start acting crazy. When I say the timing couldn't have been worse, we had actually just taken a trip in my car to Durham, North Carolina just last week. 6.5 hours there and back. Not a single issue. I have taken this car everywhere. Never had a problem. And as soon as we get back in the car from Bucky's, it jumps up to like probably at least 100 degrees inside the car. The AC is acting funny. The AC is working fine, but because of the glitches on the panel, it won't allow us to turn the temperature down below 84 degrees. This thing is blowing like crazy. We're sweating like pigs. It was awful. It was awful. So we actually were driving, and Shane came up with an idea. Now, I'm going to let him tell you about the idea, and we'll keep it going from there.
So like while we're in there sweating like KG, like we're sitting there, I'm like, okay, it hit me like, oh wait, idea. Let's go to Walmart and get some of those USB, like the plug up fans. So I was like, all right, we just get 2 of them, and then we'll go from there and see like what happens. And so, you know, in theory, it's a good idea. But we'll tell you in a minute why it was not. It was a good idea. My intuition was there, but when you mix in that it's nothing but hot air being circulated, we probably would have been better off with the heat on and turning down the volume. So I don't know. It was pretty rough, but it was a good idea. You'd say what? It was probably a good idea for like what, 6 minutes?
I think it was a solid idea probably until about 6 minutes. That's about how long it took us to get back on the highway from Walmart. so we're sitting in the car. We are dying, man. I'm telling you. And at one point we're driving. Shane picks his arm up off the armrest on the door, and the armrest was soaking wet. It was horrible. Every bad thing that you think could have happened, you know, just short of crashing the car, thank God we didn't. It was awful. Everything you could think of probably happened in some way. So not only that, we finally make it out of Georgia. We cross over into Tennessee. We hadn't even driven in Tennessee for about 7 or 8 minutes before we run into a 30-45-minute traffic jam because of some car accident. It was one thing after another. Like when I say this was awful, we started out driving at probably what, about 11:45, Shane?
11:45. What was that? What, Tuesday? No,
that was Wednesday. Yeah,
Wednesday morning. Yeah.
So we start out driving 11:45 on Wednesday. Ideally, we would have been there by 4:00, which the check-in for the Airbnb was at 4:00. Perfect. So we were thinking we'll get in, grab a bite to eat, goes to the spot, you know, and just get ready for the game. Because game 1, you know, between the Warriors and the Celtics, you know, NBA Finals, game 3 was Wednesday night. So we're like, cool, we'll be in place, we'll get it going. We didn't get here until, what time was it, Shane? It had to have been around, like, it was probably close to like 8:00.
Yeah. Like I think it was like what? It I think it was actually closer to 9. Matter of fact, yeah, I think it was about 9.
It's awful. And then to top it off, so we were sitting here thinking, we got in, the GPS brought us pretty close to where we were staying, and then we had an idea. We were like, hey, wouldn't it make more sense if we just go grab everything we need now so we can just go ahead and get to the spot and we won't have to leave again? So cool. So we start thinking of everything that we need. First off, we end up going to another Walmart just to grab, a few drinks, just bottles of water, this and that, because at this point we're dying. So we're just trying to get hydrated as quickly as possible. We buy, some fruit, some snacks, all of that good stuff. Now, we left Walmart and went to where did we go after that, Shane? Was that Food City, or did we go somewhere in between?
I think we went to Target, right? Was it Target?
That's right. No, matter of fact, we went to Target before Walmart. Remember, we took the stop at Target first because I was looking for that speaker. I was looking for the speaker, couldn't find the speaker, so we went to Walmart. Luckily, I found it there. So we leave Walmart, and then we had decided we were going to get pizza from this spot called Jets. We'll get to that later as well. But we end up getting the food from Jets, and we were headed again almost to the house when one thing that we should have done earlier that we didn't do, we forgot to check the box to see if they gave us any sort of sauce for our wings. Shane, I'm gonna let you pick that one up because I think that one hit you a little more than than it hit me.
Yeah, so like keep in mind we're doing all this with like no air conditioner. So like this pizza and wings is like what, nuclear hot at this point. And I was like, okay, well, they smell good. Let me see what we hitting on. So we open it up, and I realized, oh man, they didn't give us any ranch. We got to get, because we need some sauce for our wings. Like we can't just, I mean, I could, but I prefer not to. It
was awful.
So, yeah, it was awful. So, so we went back to Food City to get to get some other things that we need, and it was kind of like, all right, we just need we need this last little bit to go well. Keep in mind now, before we even got to Knoxville, we looked at the forecast and they said it would be raining all day, right? So it's supposed to rain all day, and we're kind of prepared for that. Haywire, AC unit and everything in the car aside, we were expecting bad weather. Surprisingly, the weather was fine when we got here. It was fine when we made all our trips and all that. It was fine when, I had some canned limeade fall on my foot.
I forgot about that. Oh no.
Courtesy of my trusted shooter on the wing over here. So
sometimes the fact that I never miss can be a detriment, sir.
Yeah, I love you too, man. And so we get to Food City, we get the ranch. I think I bought myself a Pepsi, right? We get ready to leave, and all the rain that we thought was coming at the time we got to Knoxville that hadn't come around, it was like full on Forrest Gump sideways rain when we come out of Food City. And that was some of the coldest rain I've ever felt on my skin in my life.
It was freezing, bro. It was awful.
Feel bad for like anybody that might have saw us like leaving Food City. I hate that they had to hear me scream like that.
I wasn't even gonna bring up the scream. I wasn't gonna do it, but no,
because I love y'all. I had to put that out there because the scream. Everybody knows the scream, man. You get hit with something that you ain't ready for.
No.
So yeah, I made it back into the car, and then James can tell you about this next part because it was rough, man. It was the last leg of this long trip that was only supposed to last 3 hours and 23 minutes. I'm gonna let James just tell y'all about the rest of it.
What they say to be like, all right, so boom. So we're soaking wet. We get back in the car at Food City. We're like, look, this cannot possibly get any worse. Let me tell you now, I should not have said that out loud. So we get back in the car. Now, mind you, by this time, we had been in Food City for maybe no more than 10 minutes. We knew exactly what we wanted, ran in, grabbed it, checked out, and dipped. So we get back in the car. We're soaking wet. Luckily, ironically, it works out for us that the car is only blowing hot air, so it kept us from freezing. So only other problem with that is the 10 minutes that we spent inside, that nuclear pizza and wings had spent time sitting in the car without us. So we get back in the car and the car is piping hot to the point where we can't even see out of the windshield. It's fogged up. It looks like, something bad is going on in the car. I'm gonna leave it there. But we get in the car, we can barely see. It's raining, so we're having to pick and choose when and where we're gonna let down windows to try to make sure we survive. We put the address back in the GPS. We get to the street where the Airbnb is located, and there's barely any street lights. So we have our headlights on, of course, but headlights don't really matter too much when your window's fogged up and you can't see much of anything. So we're driving. At one point, I made the wrong turn. The GPS told me to stay straight. Through the window, it looked like that was like a dead end. It looked like it was somebody's driveway. So I turned the other way. We ended up going the wrong way. So I had to turn around. We finally find the spot. I'm backing into the driveway, and next thing you know, I even see like one of the hosts who, they have been so gracious. Shout out to them. If I'm ever in Knoxville, I would love to stay here again because this place has been awesome. But we're backing in, and all of a sudden, one of the hosts comes out to get the dog. It was a black dog, pretty big dog. I didn't even know the dog was in the driveway. So all I could think about was, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I did not hit these people's dog. Yesterday wasn't even yesterday. Look, my days are so thrown off at this point. So the everything that possibly could have gone haywire on Wednesday did. A 3.5 hour drive turned into what, almost 8 or 9 hours of just us going crazy. It was unreal. But on the bright side, we made it. We're here, and we are soon going to be getting into what we made this drive for. Ain't that right, man?
Glad we finally made it, man. We're here. Tomorrow we get a chance to see, Becky Hammond, Delisha Milton-Jones, two-time champion with the Sparks, Penny Taylor with the Phoenix Mercury. We get to see them, and 5 others get inducted into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. That's a huge deal. It's going to be fun to be there. We get a chance to meet the Hall of Famers and everything else. So we're excited about that. I'm glad that, we made it here in one piece. So far, last night and tonight, we've been lucky to have everything work out pretty well. I'm gonna knock on wood here. The AC finally started working right. I don't know if it's still speaking French to us or not, but I think we're finally in a spot now where we can get this done and finally enjoy the trip. I mean, the weather's been nice. Like James mentioned, the Airbnb we're staying at is really cool. Even though my head can almost touch the ceiling in here, it's kind of interesting. So those of you that love tiny houses, I think you might get a kick out of this. So excited.
Shout out to the little people.
It's been a fun trip for sure.
Yeah, shout out to the little people. I've been laughing at Shane this whole time. Yeah, this is the one time I'm okay with being under 6 foot. So yeah, watch your head.
It's like I said, I mean, it's nice to just get away. In the stuff we do. I mean, I'm, as far as me, I mean, not to get too far into what I do, but I'm a sports editor at my local paper back in Valdosta. And how our season usually goes is we start football season in August, and then it's pretty much nonstop until about May. So to finally get some time off is much needed. And so far it's been a good trip, minus that first day.
Yeah, it's been an awesome time. I mean, anytime you can get out of your environment and just go, relax and have some fun, it's always enjoyable. And especially, just like Shane said, just getting away from the work environment. He stays super busy, like I said, he, sports editor of, the newspaper down in Valdosta. Me, I'm a high school English teacher. So it's pretty hectic here as well, especially with, dealing with, COVID over the last couple of years. And we spent the better part of the last, 2.5 years teaching our students from home. This school year that just ended was the first year that we were back face to face with our students. So it was a huge reality check for them, a huge reality check for us as teachers. And I mean, just not even to take it away from anybody else's profession, but I mean, just we've all been struggling. Just COVID has really taken a toll on everyone. And it's just good to finally have some sort of normalcy coming back into everyone's lives. So like I said, Shane and I have been talking about, making these trips on a regular basis. And with everything going on, I mean, we've had a lot going on, from, like I said, COVID and just busy jobs. I mean, from the time that COVID hit, both of us have actually become fathers. So, I mean, we're even dealing with that, raising little ones and making sure everything's good with them in the middle of a pandemic. So it's been wild. So just having this opportunity to be here and just get away, and just really mainly get away because of something that we love, which is basketball. That to me is what makes this probably better than everything.
Absolutely. And, while we would love to have our little ones here, I have a daughter that's a year and a half, a little more than that. And, miss her every day, but, having young kids, sometimes, being able to get away is nice. Look forward to, when I get back to Valdosta and seeing her and having her jump up on me and everything like that. So, but yeah, just with how everything's been, at least for me, for sure, like being able to get out of town and go on vacations and that kind of thing, like that stuff it's become kind of few and far between. And now, people are starting to do more traveling and get out. So, I try to take advantage of it. I've never been good with planning and vacations and that kind of thing. So finally being able to do that is cool. And I'm gonna try to make the most of it and appreciate it, because, we get so bogged down with everyday life, and it seems like, the days just run together and you don't know when you'll have a chance to catch your breath and take a break. So it feels good to be here in Knoxville and being in a nice spot. Luckily we've been able to sleep in a lot longer than usual. We've had, like, I think I got blackout curtains in my room. I think I've slept about 2 more hours on average since we got here.
And listen, I'm the room that I'm sleeping in doesn't even have windows. So like, and trust me, I'm not complaining at all. So I love it. And it's funny though, it's just like you were saying, like I'll go to sleep and I'll wake up throughout the night and I'll look around and I'll be like, oh man, it's still, it's probably still pretty early. I could sleep in a little bit. And next thing you know, I'll look at my phone and it'll say noon. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, that was not the plan. I was not trying to do that. Being completely honest, it's like everybody needs that relaxation. Yes. But I'm also a little annoyed because thanks to the whole blackout environment, we literally have not had breakfast since we got here. We're we're waking up. We're waking up and finding lunch, man.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy. Like I'm trying to, work into that, because usually back at home I'm probably up by what I'd probably say 9 o'clock, 9:30, and getting ready to start my day. Get a little breakfast and maybe some coffee, and then head to work. So this has been a welcome change. I've been, what I woke up today, I'm like, man, I woke up almost noon, and never even never even realized, like, I was like, man, I figured it'd be 10 o'clock maybe. So I'm just glad that we can sleep in without penalty.
Definitely. But I will say this though, I mean, we had our sleeping in. That's definitely over if we want to make sure that we do what we came here to do. Speaking of, so Shane kind of touched on it a little bit already, but I want to go into a little more detail of what we're going to be doing tomorrow. And of course, we're going to talk about this a lot more in detail once we've actually completed our Saturday. But the Hall of Fame ceremony, like I said, we lucked up with Shane's birthday being next week. We planned the trip for this week. And they're actually, not only is the Hall of Fame here, but again, Shane kind of touched on it already. Tomorrow, June 11th, they are actually hosting the 2022 ceremony of the newest inductees to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. So we already mentioned, Becky Hammon, Delisha Milton-Jones, Penny Taylor, among others. We are going to go into a lot more detail about the rest of them later. We just wanted to give you guys a little quick hit about some of the major figures, the major players that'll be enshrined tomorrow. But I go back talking about the alarms. I'm like, there's no more sleeping in, because the packages that we purchased for this event, it's pretty much a day-long deal for us tomorrow. Just quickly, so starting at around 11 a.m., they're actually going to be hosting an autograph session with these inductees at the Hall of Fame. So we'll be able to, brush elbows with greatness. We'll be able to go and actually pick brains and ask questions. I'm really looking forward to that, because, again, we'll go into a lot more detail, but Becky Hammon, I've always respected her basketball mind. She is a genius on the court, and she's showing that she's just as solid standing on the sideline as a coach right now for the Las Vegas Aces. Delisha Milton-Jones, won rings with the Sparks, but she also made me more of a fan because she spent a little bit of time in Georgia with the Atlanta Dream. I can't wait to be able to see all of these people. That's followed up at 4:00 by a reception that also includes a meet and greet with this year's inductees, as well as possible past inductees that may be there. 6:00 is when all the magic happens. That 6:00 is the actual induction ceremony. Again, we'll be in attendance. We'll be there. Like I said, we're going to give you guys a recap on a later episode once we can take everything in and just finish enjoying the moment. And finally, after the ceremony, there's going to be another celebration at the Women's Hall of Fame, and having our tickets will also get us, it'll help us to gain entry to this. We'll be allowed to attend that as well. So it'll be a day-long thing for us tomorrow. So, we're going to enjoy it. We brought the nice stuff, going to get G'd up for everybody, make sure we're both looking good, looking right. And we plan to have some fun.
Oh yeah, man. I can't wait. It's exciting. I mean, this will be the second Hall of Fame we've gone to, but this will be the first time we actually get to go to the induction and seeing this happen. I mean, just from where I'm from, I mean, I've been a part of inductions as far as Valdosta State University, and they have their Hall of Fame every year. I've seen that, and that's really cool to see every time, all the great athletes that have come through there. This is no different. Not only, James touched on it earlier about, the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Didn't even know that existed, up until a couple months ago. And, now we get a chance to be there and see it live and see all the different, things in that, and meeting some of the people that part of that. Cause I want to say the first Hall of Fame class was what 2019 or
no. It's been around a little bit longer. It was 99. Yeah, the first class was 1999, but even still, I mean, if you think about it in relation, that's always been, a major hot button when it comes to hoops, when it comes to life in general, is that it always seems like whatever's being done for the men, it seems to take so much longer to catch up and show the women that same love. So with that in mind, both Shane and myself, I mean, I'm sure he'll speak on it, but I honestly feel honored to be able to attend an event like this, because like I said, just like we both talked on already, at the beginning of this year, I didn't even know this Hall of Fame existed. And to an extent, I'm a little ashamed of that, but that's on me. And that's on anybody that wants to be a fan and take this stuff in. You have to be aware, and you have to dig, you have to do the research. So like I said, again, I'm honored to be here. I plan to have a blast. I mean, we're already having fun, but I just want to make sure that these women that I have enjoyed watching play the game on TV, I mean, I feel that much better being able to sit in a room with them and show that same respect.
Yeah, and it's one thing to, I think a lot of it is, one of the reasons that we probably didn't know about the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame is because we went to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. So we figured, okay, well, maybe that's it, because there's so many different players from all sorts of walks of life from different countries that you see there. I mean, when we went to Springfield back in 19, that was for my 31st birthday. We ran into Sue Bird at the airport. I mean, we were getting ready to leave. I think we were in the airport in Hartford, walking around the airport because I think we still had like a couple hours before our flight was supposed to leave.
Right. I think we were just on our way to go grab some food. Like we had walked around to, matter of fact, we had just come out of the store that she was walking into. So what did it was, we're in the airport, we've checked in everything, and we both had a little bit of time before our flights. So we were like, let's just go grab a bite to eat. So we just wandered around a little bit. And as we're sitting in this bookstore, I just happened to glance over my shoulder and we see a couple of ladies walking by. Didn't catch their faces. We didn't see them face to face, but as they're walking away, first thing I noticed, I was like, Shane, I was like, look at them. I was like, dude, they are so tall. And then as they walked back by us, I was like, oh, wait. They're both wearing Seattle Storm gear, bro. So just to be sure, because look, we're both guilty of it. Before I jump into anything, I'm very much a researcher. So the first thing I do is pull out my phone just to see if the Storm had a game in the area. And sure enough, the day before, they had just played the Connecticut Sun. So that at that point, our radar starts going up a little bit more. And it was funny because I can't remember if I said it to you or if you said it first, but we were both just like, yo, what if Sue Bird is walking around here? Like we had just got done talking about this because when we were at the Hall of Fame, some of Sue Bird's gear is actually enshrined there already. So we were both just like, oh my goodness, like what if we happen to run into Sue Bird? And then next thing you know,
we turn around and there she is. She's at this bookstore. I think she bought I think she had like some snacks and she was buying a book or something for the plane. And sure enough, we walk over and it's Sue Bird. She had the trademark ponytail and everything. So we come over and I think what, I don't know if you did or I did. We asked her if she'd take a picture with us and she said sure. And then we take a selfie with her and then we probably had about 5 or 10 minutes where we just completely like nerded out about it.
No, definitely. And I remember it very clearly. You were the one that asked, about the picture and everything. And I'm not even going to lie. I'll take the blame on that one. It was because I made you do it that time. Because if you remember, we had actually run into another Hall of Famer, the most random, because we're at the Basketball Hall of Fame the day before. And we're walking around, we knew it was our last experience going in. So we go into the Hall of Fame. And as we're getting our ticket scanned, I just happened to turn around. And as Shane is getting his ticket scanned, I look over my shoulder and I see this guy with his sons. And quick glimpse, I just noticed that the guy was wearing like this. It was like a tie-dyed shirt, and just the way he was walking, his stance, the way he presented himself. I thought I knew who it was right away, but again, I didn't want to freak out, so I told Shane, I was like, "Hey, man, don't look now." But I think there's another Hall of Famer that just went upstairs with his kids, because the way the Naismith Hall of Fame is set up, you check in and then you immediately go to the top floor. You take an elevator to the top floor, and the way that it's set up is you work your way back down to the exit. So I was like, Shane, I think somebody just walked in and went upstairs. So we get up there and I was like, dude, come on, let's go. So we catch up, and as soon as the guy turns around, we both had another geek out moment right then, because even though we're at the Basketball Hall of Fame, who we end up running into is, I feel very fair in saying this, one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, Mick Foley. You might know him as Mankind, Cactus Jack, but we happened to see him and he was wearing one of his Dude Love shirts from when he was wrestling in the WWE. So he's standing there with his sons. And the funniest thing about it, we got the picture. And like I said, that's why I made Shane ask Sue Bird, because I asked Mick. So I asked him, and the funniest thing about it was the guy was so down to earth. So we take a selfie. He looks at it and he immediately cracks the joke. He's like, oh no, we got to do that again. My hair doesn't look right. So he takes another picture with us. And it was just like, the trip was surreal. It was so awesome, because we knew that we were going to something that we were really going to enjoy, but we had no idea that these unexpected perks were waiting when we got there.
Yeah, man. I mean, what are the odds? You run into a WWE Hall of Famer with his kids at the National Basketball Hall of Fame. Like that was wild. And I mean, the way it all even happened, like when we got off the elevator, Mick Foley was turning around, and it's like he had like a flannel like vest looking thing, which is like one of his trademarks. But then, and you know, he walks kind of hunched over. He's a big guy. He's like 6'2" or 6'3" and 280 pounds, a big guy. And he just has that look. And we get off the elevator, he turns around and there he is. And both of us are like, yo, wow. Like, so we walk over, but we have to like game plan it real quick. We're like, I don't want to just run up to him and be like, oh my God. Like, I don't want to be that guy, but like we composed ourselves and then walked over. And I mean, he couldn't be more gracious and more willing to take a picture. We let him know that we were big fans. Both of us grew up, watching pro wrestling. So to see Mick Foley there by chance just made that trip just so much more like worth it and so much more awesome. And then you run into Sue Bird the next day. So it's like, I mean, that's the icing on the cake. You meet arguably the greatest, point guard of all time. And then you meet the hardcore legend himself the day before. Like, I mean, what are the odds of that? So, I mean, that's up there as far as like it's probably the best birthday I think I've ever had. I mean, we had a party the year before that for my 30th, but to be there for my 31st and meet these people that we grew up watching on TV, man, that was huge. I mean, that just really just capped it off. And, I mean, it started out with me flying for the first time. I freaked out, but
I forgot about that.
Yeah, after that first changeover, I think I was good. I tell people all the time, I mean, it's basically like riding a bus 30,000 feet in the air. Once you put it in those terms and accept those terms and conditions, it's all good. But it was awesome, man. First time for everything. First time flying. First time going to the Hall of Fame. Our first time going there together. I remember my uncle had got me the tickets to go back in 19, and I didn't want to go by myself. I mean, it would have been okay going by myself, but it's better when you have people with you that you enjoy and people that you care about. They're with you, and they have, obviously we share a lot of the same interests. So it was just really cool to see that and meet Mick and meet Sue. Both of them were awesome to us, and I'm glad that we got pictures with them and got to meet them. So that was our first Hall of Fame experience, and now we're here for our second one, and can't wait to see everything that happens tomorrow.
Definitely, absolutely. And no, it's funny you bring up the 30th party, because we're talking about Mick Foley. And I remember one of the pictures that we took together, I had to make sure to bring the championship belt there. So we got pictures in Valdosta the year before, and then turn around and we meet somebody that probably rocked the title better than anybody. And I'm sticking to it. I have no way to prove it, but remember, we were sitting there having lunch in the airport after the whole Sue Bird experience. I promise you that was Vin Baker. I'm sticking to it, man. I'm sticking to it. It was Vin Baker, and I want to say with him that was probably, what's the guy's name? Was it DJ White? DJ Wilson. Yeah, I'm positive, man. I'm positive. But my wings were too good, so I wasn't trying to get up and leave the restaurant to go see if that was him. But
yeah, like I was sitting there, I was like, is that like, because I mean, it's one thing to see normal sized people walking through the airport. Like, I mean, I'm 6'2", and I see somebody that looks like they're like 6'9", 10, 11, 7 feet even. I mean, even some of the WNBA players we saw were up there. I mean, they made us look tiny. And so, I thought Vin Baker was lighter. Because I always thought he was like a lighter guy, but it did look like him. And then DJ Wilson, who's I think what 6, he's probably 6'7" or 8, something like that. So,
I think he's listed around 6'7".
Yeah, so I mean that was cool. I mean, I think if we'd hung around long enough, I mean maybe Giannis would have came through or something. That would have been cool.
And I would have lost my mind. Look, that the only I was a little skeptical on the Vin Baker deal too, but the one thing that did it for me was what you said. It was the fact that this guy was so huge, walking through the airport with another guy that was so huge, and they both happened to be wearing Milwaukee Bucks jackets. So that was what did it for me. But like I said, the food was a little too good, and I mean, I don't even know if I don't know if my excitement could have handled meeting somebody else on that trip. I don't know. Shane might have had to carry me out of there.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I think we were talking about it like before we took our separate flights. We were like sitting there going, look, if I was to meet somebody else in here that was somehow more famous than them, like I don't know if I could deal with it. Like I was like, if Diana Taurasi was around that corner right now, I'd probably like Ric Flair flop right in the middle of the aisle.
It'd
and
be
they would
a
have
wrap.
to like come and scoop me up after that.
It would be a wrap, dude. so look, guys. So first and foremost, I know I've said it once already. I'm going to say it again. I know Shane shares the sentiment. I'll let him wrap up as well. But if you've made it to this point, we want to say thank you for listening to what we've had to say today. This has been something that we've wanted to do for years, and we figured what better time to get it done and get it done together than on this trip at the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame in Knoxville, Tennessee. So if you took the time and listened to us through this podcast, thank you so much. We hope that you stick around and continue. We're going to follow up soon. What do you say we do next, Shane? I mean, we got game 4 coming up of the playoffs, of the NBA finals rather. So what we'll do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to dive right into what we love on our next episode. We're going to watch the game together, probably grab some good food, and we're going to come back. We're going to get on these mics again, and we're going to let you guys know our thoughts, where we think that series is going, and everything in between. So we're going to catch up on that with you guys. Like I said, again, I'm going to let Shane, give his piece. I'm going to let Shane speak on it, and we'll go ahead and wrap things up with you guys.
Absolutely, man. 10 years in the making. We've talked about this forever. I mean, considering like how our friendship started, it's pretty cool now that we can look at this later. And, we've grown up a lot together, man, as friends. And so like, it's good that we're both here together and enjoying this time, man. Like I said, next episode, like you touched on, we'll break down the Hall of Fame. We'll talk about, we'll talk about game 4 of the finals. We'll do that after this episode. And we'll come back and talk about the things we love to talk about, man. It's been a good series so far. Hopefully we can get more games out of it to see how it unfolds. And we're excited to talk about it. Like James said, if you made it this far and you've listened to us talk about our experience so far, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Our first episode in the books, and many more to come. So with that being said, thank you all for listening to us. And, be sure to follow us here. You can follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at the JWJ Podcast. If you want to follow us personally, you can follow James on Twitter at the Educator 526. You can follow me on Twitter at It's a Thomas Thing. And, you can connect with us there. So without further ado, first episode in the books. Thank you for listening to JWJ.
Let's go.